Let's put it in gear and go somewhere.
All right. Let's see how far down the road we can get. Welcome back to another episode of Road Noise. It's another Monday evening. I know these go out on Thursdays, but Dad and I usually try to hit a Monday and catch up and record these conversations. And I haven't done a count recently, Dad, but we're a few years into this, and I think the number just keeps climbing. And so far, I know of a couple of um, folks that have probably listened to all of these conversations. So it's kind of fun to have those friends on the journey with us. And hey, if you're brand new here, you've got a lot of listening to do. So welcome aboard. And we have put a lot of miles on over the last couple of years, but it's a small comparison to the number of miles that mom and dad have put on over the last 52 years of ministry. So, and that's what we chat about each week. So where are we headed to
I
today?
was I was kind of thinking about that this afternoon of all the miles that we put on. Yeah, it is. I'm gonna go ahead and use this word. It's staggering.
Staggering. Yep.
Yeah, because on this episode, I'd like to share that not all of the excitement happens to us when we're on the road. I mean, there's actually exciting things that happen around the office here from time to time. And I'd like to share exactly one of those exciting moments. Every year, what is it, the last full weekend of April, the little town of Vermontville, which is just 3 miles to our east, has the annual Maple Syrup Festival. In that little tiny town, I don't know, they have where it's somewhere between 500 and 1,000 people, maybe. Anyway, that little tiny town's population will go to um, 5 to 10,000 over the weekend. People come from all around. I mean, it's kind of the big event here in West Michigan for that little town anyway. And it's kind of interesting in the fact that of all these visitors that show up, a lot of times it's motorcycle clubs because the last weekend of April is, it's kind of the start of motorcycle season. And so a lot of them will just plan on, hey, let's go to Vermontville for the Maple Syrup Festival and ride our motorcycles. But it can be kind of iffy. The weather can be nice, but it can still get pretty cold. And that's the weekend that I'd like to share. It was a cold weekend. The temperatures were not high at all, and I'm sure that that kept a lot of people away. But it goes from what Friday through Sunday, and we like to be around at that time. In more recent days, we like to be around for the Maple Syrup Festival because we have the Life of Christ exhibit up. And so we get all this traffic going by, and we encourage everybody to, hey, on your way to the Maple Syrup Festival, 3 miles away, why don't you do the Life of Christ going through our Circle Drive? Well, here it is. It's after midnight. It's the wee hours of the morning. I'm in bed, sound asleep, and I hear something. I hear a noise that startled me, and I quick jump out of bed and open up the curtain and peek out just in time to see something going around the Circle Drive headed towards the south end of the office building. I couldn't recognize who or what it was, but it was strange looking. And so I quickly jumped up and got my pants on and some shoes and I head to the door. And as I get to the door, I'm thinking, okay, where do I go? Do I try to chase this thing down and go to the left around the office building? But as I look in front of me, I see this image that is just clearing the east side of the office building. And so it's basically as far away from me as it can get and still be on our property. So I have no idea what I was thinking. No idea. But I'm thinking, okay, if I go to the north and run around the front of the office building and turn the corner, maybe I'll get there about the time that this creature is getting there. And so I took off running hard as I could go around the front of the office building. And as I make the turn, here's this, whatever it is, pounding on the door of the office building, the main door. It's glass doors, double doors, and I still couldn't really understand. I couldn't make out what it was. I mean, it kind of looked like a person, but not really. And so I just yelled, "What's going on here?" And with that, this thing was startled, turned around, thinking that they were the only ones outside in the middle of the night here, only to find out it was a human being, but sure looked strange. Because from the backside, it looked like this human being was inside of a large, well, what it was a feed bag, a paper feed bag, like 100-pound bag of dog food or whatever would come in. And from the backside, it kind of looked like this guy was inside the bag. Well, as he turned around, I found out he wasn't inside the bag. He had split the bag down the middle and had it wrapped around him. And he's hanging on to the bag to keep it closed with one hand as he's beating on the door with his other hand, trying to get in. And so when he turned around, I mean, he was shocked. He didn't realize that I was there, and it scared him. And so he's stuttering, trying to explain why he's there. Well, come to find out, he and a bunch of his buddies had gone to the Maple Syrup Festival. Well, when it closed down, they went to the bars and they closed that bar down and they went to another bar and they closed that bar down. And talk about somebody that's drunk out of their mind. This poor guy, I mean, he was staggering as he went through the driveway and around the office building, and it's cold out and he's freezing to death. So as he explained the story, when the last bar finally closed, they all piled into a buddy's car and left. Well, they hadn't gone very far, and they were about a mile away from where we were at. And apparently, according to him, one of them opened the door and pushed him out. And he was in the ditch, and they took off without him. And so here he is out there in the middle of the night, all by himself. But he started walking the direction that they had driven off, which was towards us. But he's cold. And as he's walking along the road, out there all by himself, no traffic or anything, he found this feed bag laying in the ditch. And so he ripped it open and wrapped it around himself. He didn't have a coat on or anything else. I mean, just a t-shirt. And so he was looking for a place to warm up. Well, like I said, I'd slid my pants on and I had my keys in my pocket. So I unlocked the front door and invited him in. I says, "Here, come inside and I'll find you a place to stay." So I take him inside the office building and I told him, "All right, you stay right here, right next to the door." And I'm thinking, okay, if this guy attacks me, I'm going to win because he's so drunk, he's hardly able to stand up. And if he takes a swing at me, he probably can't hit me very hard because he's going to be trying to keep his own balance. So I'm not really afraid of the guy, but I'm cautious. So I tell him stay right there. Now, at that time, our secretary's office was right at the top of the steps. As you come in the front door, there's a little entranceway, and then there's 4 steps that go up, and then her desk was right there. And dating myself, this was the time when we still had phones that we refer to as landlines. We didn't have cell phone. But anyway, so I picked up that phone, and it didn't take me long to dial 911. And when the lady answered on the other end, I told her what the situation was and asked if perhaps she could send the police or someone to take this guy. And she assured me that she would. And so I hung up and went back to join this guy. and stood there and talked with him as we waited. Well, where we live, I had a police officer, actually, the sheriff, told me one time at a class that I was taking on security things. Anyway, the sheriff told me, he says, it depends on where we're at when we get a 911 call. We could easily be 20 minutes away from any location in the county. Well, class, I'm here to tell you it didn't take them 20 minutes to find us. And so I'm standing there with this guy next to the glass doors when the police officer pulls in, and he pulls right up to the glass doors. So I open the door and invite him in. And it did not take him long inside the building there to assess the situation, and he knew exactly what to do. And he escorted this guy out. And I don't know if he gave him a ride home or maybe he took him and gave him a ride to the jail. I have no idea, but I'm sure that no matter where that officer took this guy, it was much warmer than it was outside that night. But people came from all over. So this guy may actually live who knows where. So whether the officer took him that far home or not, like I said, I don't know. But it was a real reminder to me of the effects of having too much alcohol. And a good reminder that, sometimes your buddies, who you think might be buddies, um, may not be such true friends after all, especially if you're drunk and they decide to dump you out along the side of the road. I mean, what kind of friends are these? And so, what does the Bible tell us? Proverbs chapter 20, verse 1. Wine makes you mean. Beer makes you quarrelsome. A staggering drunk is not much fun. And I'm thinking that's probably fits this guy that particular night. My heart goes out to people like that are addicted to alcohol or whatever it is, because it's a huge struggle and it can be a huge problem and can get you into all kinds of trouble. So I trust that wherever this guy ended up, yep, it was warmer. And when he finally sobered up and maybe had a clear mind, he got to thinking about what had happened and how his friends treated him, and perhaps gave it a second thought the next time he had the opportunity to take on that much alcohol. So much for the excitement around here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the Maple Syrup Festival does bring folks of all type through. And yep, I
It's
would
some
imagine
strange
it's
ones at times.
yeah, it's probably a big economic boom to the tiny little town. And with it comes a little bit of variety for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
it is, I know we've got listeners all over the country. April in Michigan can be cold. Not
it
like
can.
chilly cold, but like cold, cold. So he's in many ways lucky to have stumbled across a place that was, able to help him find a warm place.
Yeah. I mean, there's not many farmhouses even around, and
Nope.
I can't imagine what could have happened had he been beaten on the door of somebody's farmhouse
Yep.
or even on the door of our house. But no, he went to the office building, and like I said, I don't know what I was thinking. I would hopefully I'd think twice before I went running out there to confront something these days. Oh well. Say, did you hear about the university that did a study on people that get drunk?
Mm-mm.
The results were staggering.
Yep.
Should have seen that one coming, right?
Yeah.
Or what do you call a drunk nail?
A trunk nail.
Hammered.
Oh, come on. That one's a good one. I like that. Yeah.
All right, let's park it right here. We'll see you
Yeah.
next week.
We'll see you all next week.